I had to I had to go do this today anyways, cause let me go into this the Wikipedia thing, cause this is more than I had to find. Let me go find this, cause I haven't even do a live show on another dead wrestler before, but I had to do one. Let me take you to this guy who's been in this game ever since the 80s. Anybody remember so much about him, but this man's been in this game since let me tell you about this man. This man's been in this game in like for like 40 years in the sport. But this man needs introduction, and he doesn't need one. This is this man happened to be Owen James Hart. That's right, Owen James Hart. This man was a Canadian professional wrestler who worked for several promotions, including Calgary Stampede Wrestling in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, New Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan, World Championship Wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia, and the World Wrestling Federation. It's local in New York and Connecticut. Connecticut. It's local in New York and Connecticut. Uh, he received most of his success. Well, the World Wrestling Federation, well before which was now WWE World Wrestling Entertainment. Uh, Hart had received most of the success of his success in the company, especially in WWF, uh, where he wrestled under both his own ring name. I think it was, yeah, he wrestled both under his own real name and the ring name that's been had to be the Blue Blazer. He's been a member of the Hart wrestling family. He was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the youngest of 12 children of Stampede wrestling promoters Stu and Helen Hart, among other accolades. Owen was the one-time United States Wrestling Association. Yeah, he was the one-time USWA United States Wrestling Association Unified World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, the Unified World Heavyweight Champion, a two-time World Wrestling Federation uh, Intercontinental Champion. He held the title two times. He was a one-time WWF European Champion and a four-time WWF World Tag Team Champion. I think he held it. He held them like, I think he held it with all sorts of partners. He held one with I think it was with the British Bulldog, Davy Boy Smith, who had passed away. No, too. He held it with Jeff Jarrett. I think about once. I don't know what type of title he have held with, but there's four times he held the tag titles with. he held it with, as well as the as he was the winner. Then as well he was the 1994's 1994's WWF King of the Ring winner. He headlined multiple pay-per-view events for the WWF, and he was widely regarded as one of the company's best in-ring performers. Hart died on May 23rd, 1999, during his entrance from the Raptors of the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, United States. The equipment that was lowering out what was I don't know what was lowering him. The equipment that was lowering him to the ring malfunctioned, and he fell to his death in front of a live audience and live on pay-per-view during WWF's Over the Edge 99 event. We'll go to early life and wrestling career. and other shit. Owen Owen Hart, yes right. Owen Hart was born on May 7th, 1965, in Calgary, Alberta, into the Hart wrestling family, and he was the youngest child of the late Stu and Helen Hart. He grew up in a household with 11 older siblings: Smith Hart, Smith Hart, Bruce Hart, Keith Hart, Wayne Hart, Dean Hart, Ellie Hart Neidhart, uh, Georgia Hart Ennis, Brett Brett Sargent Hart, Allison Hart, Ross Hart, and Diana Hart Smith. He was of Greek descent through his maternal what's it say? Oh yeah, he was of Greek descent through his maternal grandmother and Irish through his maternal grandfather. His father was mainly of Scots Irish descent, Scots Irish descent, but also had Scottish and German ancestry because his mother Helen was born in New York. Hart held American citizenship in addition to Canadian citizenship. That's what it says. In addition to let me explain this. Hart held American citizenship in addition to Canadian citizenship, which that he acquired due to birth in Canada to a Canadian-born father. Let me go back to the early to late 80s, I think. The early pro wrestling career. Uh, Hart first gained wrestling experience in the amateur wrestling division at high school, through which he met his wife, uh, Martha Hart. Hart continued amateur wrestling for the Dinos, I don't know, for the Dinos at the University of Calgary. University of Calgary. He placed fourth at the 1984 Canada West Championships in the 76 kilograms weight class. Wrestling was not Hart's first choice for a career, as Martha explained in her book, Broken Hearts. Broken Hearts. It was a tell-all. I don't even know why. It's probably a book that was written that she came out with. Uh, Owen tried numerous times to find a profitable a profitable living outside of wrestling. Owen is quoted as saying in the WWE home video, Owen Hart of Gold, that during his time in the university, he wrestled incognito under a mask as the original British Bulldog. Then, after he graduated from the university, he wrestled as Bronco Owen Hart at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England. In London, England, that's in the UK. As those attempts were unsuccessful, Hart was trained by in his father's dungeon, his father's Hart dungeon, which was the Hart House, and worked for his father's federation, which was Stampede Wrestling, and in England for Max Crabtree's joint promotions in matches that got broadcast on ITV's World of Sport. He remained with Stampede for the next couple of years while honing his skills during 1986. Hart teamed up with Ben Basarab and won the Stampede Wrestling International Tag Team Championship. The success of the team and Hart's in-ring skills earned him Pro Wrestling Illustrated's, yeah, that's what earns him PWI's Rookie of the Year award in 1987. After he and Basarab lost the tag team title, he feuded with Johnny Smith, another professional wrestler from England, and the Dynamite Kid who had passed away, Thomas Billington. In that same year, Hart branched out to Japan. That's what Owen Hart is doing. He's branching out. He's branching out to Japan, where he had wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling on several tours. In NJPW, let me explain this. Let me refresh. In NJPW, he wrestled Kichi Yamada. He wrestled Keiichi Yamada both before and after he debuted uh the Jushin Liger gimmick. On May 27th, 1988, Hart defeated Hiroshi Hashi Yes, Hiroshi Hase, who had to be a Japanese wrestler. Check this guy out. Yeah, that was for the International Wrestling Grand Prix Junior Heavyweight Championship, becoming the first non-Japanese wrestler to win the title. His reign would end nearly. Yeah, that's why I'm saying this. His reign would end nearly a month later as he lost the title to Shiro Koshinaka on June 24th, 1988, and this is before his it's before he went to the World Wrestling Federation. Right after he was going to leave the promotion. Let's go to the WWF. Hart's success in Japan and Stampede's working relationship with the World Wrestling Federation led to Hart signing with the company in the summer of 1988. Instead of promoting Owen as the younger brother of Bret Hart, the WWF decided to create a masked superhero type gimmick for him, which played to his high flying style. He broke into the WWF as the Blue Blazer. Well, initially it was the Blue Angel. At that time, with his early appearances, seeing him defeat the likes of Terry Gibbs, Steve Lombardi, who had to be the Brooklyn Brawler, well, the Brawler. Uh, there's a little bit of I know of. Yeah, Steve Lombardi. Anybody remember him? He was the Brooklyn Brawler, but all of a sudden he turned into the Boston Brawler. Barry Horowitz, who was another wrestler. The Blue Blazer made his pay-per-view debut at Survivor Series 88, teaming with the likes of uh, the Ultimate Warrior Brian Helwig, rest in peace, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, whose real name was Edward Leslie, Jim Brunzell, and Sam Houston. Well, he was related to Jake the Snake Roberts as probably his brother, Michael Maurice Smith. That's probably his brother, Michael Smith. That's Jake the Snake's brother. So Honky Tonk Man, whose real name was Wayne Ferris, I think. Roy Ferris. Uh, Greg the Hammer Ballantyne, whose real name was Jonathan Wisniewski. Who else is there? Outlaw Ron Bass, whose real name was Ron Hurd. Bad about Bad Brown, rest in peace. You know, and Dangerous Danny Davis, who was another wrestler who who used to work for the company. The Blazer was eliminated by Valentine, but his team went on to win that match, the match that he been wanting. I mean, Owen was out of it. Owen was out of it, man. He was mad. He was mad that he lost. But but his team went on to win the match. He continued to wrestle in the mid card, defeating Enhancement Talent. Well, they're giving him squash matches, but often short against other name talent that he lost to. Yep, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, on March 11th, 1989, on Saturday night's main event, XX. He was defeated by the late Curtis Michael Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect, at WrestleMania V, I think. In various promotions, this is where Hart was leaving the WWF to go to other promotions. Shortly after WrestleMania, Hart left the company to tour the world, both with or without that blue blazer gimmick of his. Without the blue blazer gimmick, he also returned to Stampede until it got shut down in December of '89. Yep, that's what happened when Stampede Wrestling went out of business. It probably fall into some sort of bankruptcy, and all the wrestlers are leaving the company left and right. Then in 1991, Hart lost the Blue Blazer mask in a mascara contra mascara match against Mexican wrestler El Canek. El Canek, or what's the word? Or El Canek, Canek, whatever that's name. What his name is? El Canek. Felipe Estrada. He probably beats him in this mask versus he being with his mask versus mask match. I do not even know why he lost in a mask versus mask match. And would not utilize the gimmick again until 1998. He also returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling. In 1990, he went to Germany. After he returned to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Company. But he went to Germany in 1990 and working with the likes of the CWA, the Catch Wrestling Association. Hart debuted in WCW's self-titled TV show on March 16th of 1991. The first of the 5 TV matches he competed in, all of which were against preliminary talent such as Mark Kyle, Killer Mark Kyle. Uh, one of the bouts saw him team with one half of the Rock and Roll Express. Richard Morton. That's Richard Morton. Okay. Well, they call him Ricky. Until he leaves WCW and go back to the WWF in the same year. Back to the WWF. It was about the new foundation, high energy. Hart had begun engaged in contract discussions with WCW, but the deal was never struck, as Owen was not willing to move himself and his family to the company's headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Instead, he signed with the WWF for a second time. In the WWF, the Popular Heart Foundation, composed of his brother Brett and their real life brother-in-law Jim D'Ambell Neidhart, Jim Neidhart, who had passed away in 2018, had split up. Brett set out on a singles career. This is after Hart after Brett and Jim had these matches with with the Rockers. It's just made of Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Owen's brother Brett set out on a singles career while Neidhart was used sparingly. When Neidhart returned from a storyline injury, he joined Owen to form a team known as the New Foundation. The New Foundation. Owen and Neidhart first feuded with the Beverly Brothers. Well, Mike Els that have to be Mike Enos, and Wayne Bloom. Wayne Bloom might be the father of Cal Bloom, aka Von Wagner. Yeah, they then had their only pay per view. Yeah, the PPV. What is it called? They then had their only pay per view match at the Royal Rumble in January of 1992, where they beat the Orient Express. The Orient Express. Neidhart left the WWF shortly afterward, and Hart set out on a very short run as a singles wrestler, including a victorious match at WrestleMania VII when he faced off against Skinner, whose real name was Stephen Paul Kieran. Yeah, I did not even remember so much about him. He used to be in this tag team called the Fabulous Ones. That could be a tag team that was like in decades in Memphis, Tennessee. Shortly after WrestleMania, that's right. Shortly after WrestleMania, Hart was teaming up with the likes of Yeah, the guy who did this power driver thing, Coco Beware, whose whose real name was James W. Ware Jr. to form the duo known as the High Energy Tag Team. They had only one pay-per-view matchup as a team at the Survivor Series, at the SS, Survivor Series, where they lost to the Head Shrinkers. I think it was Fatu and Samu. I think. Yeah, the Head Shrinkers, who was previously known in in those various promotions as the Samoan SWAT team. Well, they were the Samoan SWAT team in in WCW. Well, it was National Wrestling Alliance World Championship Wrestling. Uh, when they left, they became the Head Shrinkers before they became the Head Shrinkers in the WWF, which was now the WWE. So the team was quietly dropped. The team was quietly dropped. The team was dropped quietly at the start of 1993. 1993, that's what it's the start of. With Hart starting a singles career on his own, he starts suffering that injury on March 9th of that year in a match taped for Superstars against the late Scott Bam Bam Bigelow, which kept him sidelined for nearly 2 months. Then the feud he had with his brother Brett. In the middle of a feud of a 19 in the middle of 1993, this is when Brett's feud that's where Bret Hart's feud with Jerry the King Lawler ignited. Owen stood uh by Bret's side and fought against Lawler in the USWA, where most of the WWF talent were considered the heels. Owen was the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship from Papa Shango. Oh, this is before he became the Good Father or the Godfather. Who had to be Charles Wright. Owen's participation in the feud between the WWF and the USWA That's what happened. That's what let me explain. Let me explain about this shit. Let me explain about this old shit right here. This is about to be important as fuck. Owen Hart's his participation in the WWF versus USWA feud was cut short when he suffered a knee injury in the summer of 1993, and he was forced to take some time away from the ring. Hart returned to the WWF ring in the fall of 1993, at a time when Brett's feud with Lawler was temporarily, yeah, it was temporarily sidetracked. Brett, along with Owen and their brothers Bruce and Keith, were scheduled to face Lawler and his team at Survivor Series. At Survivor Series. However, Lawler was unable to make it to the show, and as a result, could not appear on WWF television. Lawler was replaced with Shawn Michaels. With Shawn Michaels during the match, Owen and Brett inadvertently crashed into each other, causing Owen to be eliminated from the team. From the team, Owen showed up after the match and had a heated confrontation with Brett, his own brother, his own brother. While Keith, Bruce, and Stu tried to calm things down, this confrontation resulted in Owen leaving the ring in boos, all sorts of boos, while his brothers, uh, Keith and Bruce and their father Stu, watched in some sort of dismay their mother Helen, a born New Yorker, crying, crying at ringside, sobbing over over Owen leaving the ring while while he got booed. While he got booed. The following night, Owen adopted something that Brett should wear. The pink and black tights. Yeah, the infamous pink and black tights. The sunglasses and the sharpshooter finisher. All this to send a message to Brett. Owen, he was angry. He was angry with being in the shadow of his brother Brett. Challenged his brother, which Brett had declined. Brett would decline being challenged by Owen. Instead, the brothers, they seemed to reunite by the holidays. Well, Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't even know. Brett tried everything to make amends with his own brother, his own younger brother, teaming with him on the regular basis. Brett had even secured the two a shot at the WWF Tag Team Championship. They faced the Quebecers. The Quebecers is like a it was like a Canadian tag team I don't much even know of. Yeah, it was a professional wrestling tag team, but these guys are like Canadians. They faced this American wrestling tag team that's called the uh the Quebecers. The Quebecers. They probably a tag team that coming from Canada. Well, it was for the title at the Royal Rumble in January of 1994. In January of 1994, initially everything was fine between the brothers, but when Brett hurt his knee, that was a kayfabe thing. It was a kayfabe thing. People started yelling kayfabe this and kayfabe that. It was a kayfabe knee injury. I think that's why Bret hurt his knee. That was on some kayfabe shit, and he was unable to tag Owen in. He was unable to tag in Owen for a long period of time. The younger brother, Hart, got frustrated. Hart got frustrated when the referee stopped the match. Due to Bret's damaged knee, Owen had snapped. Owen snapped. He kicked his brother in the knee, trying to injure it. And then he started walking off. He started walking off, berating Bret on the Titantron shortly shortly after as Bret was being helped backstage by the referees. This started this started his run as a heel. That's like a villain. You know what heel is? Heel is like pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, a heel could be a wrestler who portrays a villain, a bad guy, or a rule breaker, and acts as an antagonist to the faces, who are the heroic protagonist or good guy characters. Not everything a heel wrestler does must be villainous. Let me explain this. Heels need heels need only heels needed that's what happened. The heels need only to be booed or jeered by the audience. But after the act, an infuriated Owen Hart accused his own brother of being selfish. It's like it's like my aunt, you know, back in the day started labeling my cousin as selfish, and and all of a sudden I get labeled too. I get labeled the same fucking way too. That is a bitchy way of things that's been happening in this fucking family. One of my aunt died. One of she's no longer here. Let me start again. Let me start this shit over again after I bring up all this family drama. After the act, an infuriated Owen accused his brother of being selfish and holding him down. Holding him down. Owen admitted that it felt good to take out his brother. The two brothers faced off. They were facing off for the first time at WrestleMania X. WrestleMania X, I think it was WrestleMania 10, I think, where Owen cleanly pinned his older brother. Later in the evening, when Bret won the WWF Championship, while Owen stood by and watched in jealousy, and Bret celebrated in the ring, Owen won the 1994 King of the Ring tournament, turning back Razor Ramon in the finals. In the finals, whether we Razor Ramon, that's Scott Hall in the finals, with an elbow drop to the back and with an assist from Jim Neidhart. After the victory, Owen dropped the Rocket nickname. The nickname was only the Rocket. That's what Owen had dropped it. And he took the nickname. The nickname that he became known for is the King of Hearts. King of Hearts. That's after he dropped the name the Rocket. Owen and Brett feuded throughout the summer of '94, clashing many times both in singles and later in tag team matches. Would would Brett would Brett joined by the returning British Bulldog? Well, they used to have their match back in '92. I was at SummerSlam, and I think it was in England. The prominent matches took place in this feud. First, their steel cage match in the co-main event of SummerSlam for Brett's WWF Championship, which that Brett have won. This match later received a 5-star rating from David Meltzer, who was an editor. Who was I'm not gonna lie, David Meltzer, who happens to be a journalist and a sports historian. I mean, I remember this part when I watched the Donahue show on YouTube when we have this guy featured on the show. It was I think it was like '92. I don't even know of. It was probably '92. The second was a lumberjack match on August the 17th that Owen initially won and was announced as WWF champion. Brett won the match after it was ordered to continue due to the interference at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. At the pay-per-view Survivor Series, Owen has struck the most damaging blow against his brother Brett, as he conned his own mother Helen, a New Yorker that she was, I mean, to throw in the towel for Brett. The ploy cost Brett the WWF Championship to Bob Backlund. Yeah, Robert Backlund. Yeah, everybody knows Robert Backlund. That guy's nuts. That guy's crazy as hell. Owen also prevented Brett from regaining the title. Why would you have to prevent why do you have to prevent your own brother from regaining the WWF Championship at the Royal Rumble in 1995? Even though when this happened, when this type of debacle, when Owen interfered in the match between Brett and new champion Diesel, who had to be Kevin Nash. In the weeks after the Royal Rumble, Brett and Owen clashed again. With Brett soundly defeating his brother, thus putting an end to their feud for the time being. What do you see, Camp Cornette? Yep. Owen had rebounded. Owen had rebounded from the loss to Brett by winning the WWF Tag Team Championship from Michael Polkapek and Monty Sop. Those had to be the Smoking Guns tag team. Well, they're like, these two like used to be two like best friends. That'd be Monty Sop and Michael Polkapek Jr. Uh, who had to be the Smoking Guns. Well, Billy Gunn, he's already at AEW now, so uh, Michael Polkapek, who had to be Bart Gunn, he's retiring. Yep, Owen had rebounded from the loss by to beating. Yeah, Owen had rebounded from the loss to Bret Hart by winning the WWF Tag Team Championship from the Smoking Guns at WrestleMania 11, I think, or XI. Owen, who was joined by a mystery partner, which who they should have named for like 28 years or so, had challenged the Guns to a title match. The partner turned out to be former world champion Agat, Agatupu Rodney Anoi, also known as Yokozuna. After the victory, Owen took legendary wrestling manager, commentator, and legendary promoter, commentator, and manager James Mark Cornette and Mr. Fuji and Harry Fujiwara, who was also known as Mr. Fuji, as his managers, who already managed Yokozuna. The team defended the title for 5 months until they lost them to Shawn Michaels and Diesel at the In Your House 3 pay-per-view. They would briefly hold the title a second time when the belts were handed back to them before the Smoking Guns regained the title. Owen and Yokozuna would continue to team off and on until the end of the year. In '95, Owen's brother-in-law, David Smith, who had to be David Smith, who was known as Davy Boy Smith. Well, he was the British Bulldog. Well, he turned heel and joined the Camp Cornette stable. The Camp Cornette stable. That's the stable that was put on by James Mark Cornette. During the summer of '96, the two brothers-in-law started to team up more and more sometimes alongside Leon White, aka Vader, who was also a member of Camp Cornette when, Cornette was managing Vader. He was managing Vader. Owen also won a Slammy Award for injuring Shawn Michaels and began using the nickname Slammy Award winner and the King of Hearts nickname that was rarely used. Owen was also a color commentator for the 1996 King of the Ring, exhibiting clear partisan support for Vader and Smith. During this time, wore a cast on his right forearm for several months, feigning a nagging injury. Yeah, feigning a nagging injury to subsequently use his cast as a weapon during his matches. In September of that year, Bulldog and Hart earned a pay-per-view shot at the tag team titles at In Your House 10. Owen and Bulldog left with the gold, defeating the Smoking Guns. The Smoking Guns. They also left with a new manager as Clarence Mason, who had to be Herman Stevens Jr. Had conned Jim Cornette into signing over the contracts of the new champions. Signs of the dissension, however, slowly started to show. One occasion where this was evident was at the Royal Rumble when Hart accidentally eliminated Bulldog after the Rumble. They had miscommunication problems in matches against Doug Furnas and Philifon. Doug Furnas and Philifon and Bulldog fired Mason. after losing a match who had to be crushed, who had to be crushed, whose real name was Brian Keith Adams, who was also managed by Mason, something which did not sit well with Hart. Another bone of contention between the two was the newly created WWF European Championship. Both men had fought their way to the finals to crown the first champion, with Bulldog coming out as the victor. After retaining the tag team title against the Headbangers by disqualification in the edition of March 24th, 1997 of WWF Monday Night Raw, the tension between this is this is after the ECW invasion co-promotion thing that happened on WWF television in early '97. The tension between the two bubbled over, and incensed Hart demanded a shot at Bulldog's European title the next week. The match was booked for March 31st on the night. The two went at it with such intensity that many thought that the tag team champions had finally gone their separate ways. In a shocking moment, the recently turned heel Bret Hart appeared at ringside and stopped the match. Bret appealed to both Owen and Bulldog, talking about the importance of family. They agreed to put their differences aside and joined with Bret to form the new Hart Foundation, an anti-American stable that also included Hart, in-law Jim Neidhart, and Hart family friend Brian Pillman. After the forming the Hart Foundation, Owen had quickly gained singles gold of his own as he pinned Rocky Maivia, that's Dwayne Johnson, to win his first WWF Intercontinental Championship. This meant that the Hart Foundation held every WWF title except the WWF Championship, cementing their dominance over the Federation. It was not all success for Owen, though, as he and the British Bulldog lost the WWF Tag Team Championship to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels on May 26, 1997. He began feuding with Austin. Shortly thereafter, Owen and Bulldog got a second chance of regaining the tag team titles after Michaels vacated his half of the championship due to an injury on the edition of July 14, 1997 of Raw. The two entered the tournament and won to face Austin and a partner of his choice that evening for the vacant titles, and that partner turned out to be Dude Love, who declared himself to be Austin's partner. That had to be Mick Foley. Had to be Mick Foley. Let me show you this guy. That had to be Michael. It had to be Michael Francis Foley. Remember this guy? That had to be Michael Francis Foley. That's one of the faces of Foley. That's like the thing that they started in the WWF back then. That partner turned out to be Dude Love, through love had been Mick Foley, who declared himself to be Austin's partner and helped him defeat Hart and Bulldog. Well, and helped him defeat Hart and Bulldog for the tag team championship. At SummerSlam in August of '97, Hart was to defend his Intercontinental Championship against Austin. Oh yeah, in a kiss my ass match. That KMA match, remember that match? Remember that match they called it? They called it the kiss my they fucking called this match the kiss my ass match. Where Hart put the title up against Austin, having to kiss his buttocks if he lost. During the match, Hart botched a pile driver. Hart botched a pile driver and dropped Austin on the top of his head during during his neck. During his neck, during injuring his neck, Austin won the title from Hart that evening. But due to the injury, was forced to vacate the title. Although the entire situation was an accident, I think it was after Owen Hart have power drilled Steve Austin into the mat. The WWF decided to make it part of the storyline as Owen began wearing a T-shirt patterned after Austin's that reads Owen 316, I just broke your neck. Why do you have it on a T-shirt that says Owen? It says Owen 316, I just broke your neck. Hart was then entered. Hart was then entered into a tournament to crown a new champion. Hart fought his way to the finals of the tournament to crown the next Intercontinental Champion and was set to face uh, Ron Simmons at Bad Blood. That had to be Farouk. Well, it was Bad Blood in your house. Owen beat Farouk with Austin's help. With Austin's help. Afterward, Austin explained that he wanted to beat Hart for the title when he returned. And would not allow Farouk, yeah, that's one thing I know of, and would not allow Farouk or anyone else to beat him. After Hart retained the title twice by DQ between Bad Blood and Survivor Series in Montreal, Quebec. Austin got his wish. Austin got his wish and defeated Hart for the Intercontinental Championship again. This is what happened. Later that night, the Montreal screw job took place. Take a look at this picture of this match here. This is a picture of this match here that happened at Survivor Series. This old picture of Shawn Michaels putting Bret Hart in submission with Bret Hart's own finisher. That blew the lid off of wrestling's sacred brotherhood. It boldly off of wrestling's sacred brotherhood. Yeah, later that night, the Montreal screw job took place. His brother Brett, uh, left the WWF after the Survivor Series pay per view, and both the British Bulldog and Jim Neidhart were granted quick releases from their contracts to jump to WCW, where Brett is going to go, where Brett is going to go, and this left Owen as the only Hart family member remaining in the WWF due to his contractual obligations, the Black Hart Nation of Domination thing in the late 90s. Hart was not seen or mentioned on WWF programming until he made a surprise appearance after Shawn Michaels retained his title following a DQ loss to Ken Shamrock at In Your House Degeneration X, where he attacked Shawn Michaels, now a fan favorite, but with a new edgy antisocial attitude. Hart became as the Lone Heart, known as the Lone Heart, and also the Black Heart. Owen had a feud with Degeneration X and challenged Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship. On the December 29th, 1997 episode of Raw's War, well, this is before the New Year's comes through in '98. Uh, Hart had Michaels locked in the sharpshooter when Triple H interfered in order to save Michaels' title. Given Hart the what is it? Michaels Why Michaels locking in the sharpshooter when Triple H interfered in order to save Michaels' title, giving Hart the victory by DQ. Later, he won the European title from Triple H, although not directly. Goldust dressed up as Triple H in an attempt to swerve Hart, but Commissioner Slaughter, the, well, this Robert Remus, it's all this thing. Why would you use the name Commissioner Slaughter? Considered him to be a legitimate replacement. Hart later suffered a kayfabe ankle injury during a match against Barry Windham, involving Triple H. When Hart joined the commentary at ringside, Triple H managed to draw Owen into an impromptu title match and regained the title. China interfered. Let me tell you about China. Let me get his name. Yep, China interfered while the referee wasn't even looking, and while Triple H was distracting the referee, uh, she struck Hart behind. What the? Why was she? Why would China do that? China has struck. China, I think she struck. She struck poor Owen Hart with a from behind with the left knee with a baseball bat. Picked him up and threw him back into the ring where Triple H put Hart in reverse ankle lock to his injured right ankle to win the European Championship under referee's discretion in a controversial fashion. 4 weeks after Mania, during a tag team match with Ken Shamrock against Mark Henry and Rocky Maivia, later known as The Rock, Hart turned on Shamrock, snapping his ankle and biting his ear in the process. A bad Iron Mike Tyson move. And becoming a heel once again, After the attack on Shamrock, Hart became the co-leader with The Rock of the national domination, claiming that enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Time for a change. The nation's first big feud. Yeah, that's what happened. The nation, their first big feud after Hart joined was against DX. It was during this feud that the Generation X parodied the Nation of Domination. The invitation was complete with an actor dressing up as Hart, and uttering the phrase, "I am not a nugget. I am not a nugget." This was in response to Shawn Michaels referring to Owen as a nugget of feces in the toilet bowl that no matter how many times Michaels flushed, he was unable to get rid of nugget. It derisive term that followed Hart for the rest of his career. Hart's participation in the DX feud was sidetracked when Shamrock returned from his injuries, dead set on getting revenge on Hart. The two split a pair of specialty matches on pay-per-view, but nothing was ever conclusively between was it the two split a pair of specialty matches on pay-per-view, but nothing was ever conclusively settled between them. To be continued. I'm going to go to part two before I'm going to use the bathroom.